after the San Antonio Spurs took on the Denver Nuggets, who are the defending champs, and came out with a victory. The San Antonio Spurs called it a season for Victor Wembanyama, sitting him for their final game against the Pistons, which they ended up winning anyways. But Victor Wembanyama's season is now concluded, and now we can look back on what might be the greatest rookie season of all time. Now, I know I haven't made a video since the James Harden trade when he went to the Clippers, but trust me, I've been keeping up with the NBA, still watching all basketball, especially the Spurs. They are, of course, my team. I've been watching them since I was a very little kid, and now we have Victor Wembanyama, and man, have I been impressed. I have watched every single Victor Wembanyama game this season, which is 71 games, which is a lot. People are kind of worried about his thin frame and if he can keep up with the, big guys in the league and everything, and it's really shown that he can keep up with these guys. His thin frame doesn't really hurt him that much, especially with injuries. The Spurs and Pop did sit him if it was a minor injury or if it was something very small. Nothing big happened this year. It was mostly just small ankle tweaks, and they wanted to be as safe as possible with him this year, and I can fully back that up. It would be awful if in a not meaningless season, but a season where the Spurs aren't going to win anything, it would be tragic if he were to get hurt by getting overplayed. So the Spurs were very cautious with him, and in those cautious minutes, which was 30 minutes a game, a little under 30, but we'll give it to him, he was spectacular. And towards the end of the season, when he started to get real good minutes, which is like 36 minutes a game, we almost saw like a sneak peek a little bit of what this man's prime could look like numbers wise, and it's just unbelievable. So looking at his final rookie stats, Wemby averaged 21 points per game, first among rookies, 10.6 rebounds per game, again first among rookies, 3.9 assists per game, which is fourth among rookies, 1.2 steals per game, first among rookies, 3.6 blocks per game, first among every single player in the NBA. He was first in the league in stocks as well, which is steals plus blocks, and the second man behind him was Anthony Davis, behind him by almost 70. He also shot 46.5% from the field, 33.5% from 3, and 80% from the free throw line. Again, all of this under 30 minutes, which he was 29.7 minutes per game, but under 30 minutes per game still. And Victor, to end the season averaging this for a month, when he finally started playing 35 minutes per game, which was real starter minutes, he averaged 25 points per game, 12.8 rebounds per game, 6.8 assists per game, 5.6 blocks per game, and 3 3-pointers made a game. When he finally started getting superstar minutes, he started producing like a superstar, a legit all-star superstar player, whatever you want to say. He was incredible to end the year. And some other extra stats just to add on to all of this. This was for the whole season. He was second in defensive rating for a player, which is 106.1, just behind Rudy Gobert. And his opponent field goal percentage drops by 4.6% when he's guarding somebody. And he is the only player in NBA history to have 1,500 plus points, 250 plus blocks, and 100 plus 3-pointers in a season. Not just the first rookie, the first player to have those totals or more in an NBA season. Now, a major draw with Wembanyama was his ability to shoot the 3 ball at 7'5", and 33.5% doesn't sound lethal or anything, but when you factor in the difficulty of shots and also his step back percentage and his off the dribble percentage, it is absurd. 33.5 doesn't sound great or anything, which was kind of how he started off in the beginning of the season, not great at 3-point shooting, but throughout the season, he just slowly started getting better and slowly started to find his rhythm, especially with the step back threes, which was absurd. His step back 3 percentage, I believe, I don't have it with me right now, but I do know it was about 45% from 3 when he's stepping back, which is actually insane for a 7'5" player. He just looks so smooth out there when he is shooting his 3, even if it's not falling. It just looks smooth. He has the great form. So his 3-point shooting will definitely come along throughout his career. And it wasn't even that bad to start off. It was just kind of rusty at times, and he can kind of be streaky. Another part of his offensive game that I want to touch on, and it's very underrated in my opinion, is his playmaking. It is unbelievable how great of a playmaker he is. A part of his game that wasn't really talked about coming into the drafts, and man, it has been a difference maker at times for the Spurs. With his 7'5" frame, he can literally just look over defenses and dish it off to whoever's open, and a large portion of his assists are to players in the paint for easy layups, which is a great sign. He's also able to somehow be the primary ball handler in a pick and roll, which is actually insane. Like, of course, when you look at big man assists, you probably think they're in the post most of the time. Victor will be the primary ball handler in the pick and roll with his point guard, Trey Jones. And he can thread the needle with ease, it seems like, to Trey Jones or whoever it might be for an easy dump off into the paint for a layup. Another part of his game that you won't really know unless you watch is his off-ball movement is elite. Like, he is incredible off the ball to the point where he looks like an NFL wide receiver out there, especially the part where he went against Giannis in the Bucks Spurs game. That was a classic of a matchup as well. And he just hit Giannis with like a wide receiver cutback move, and it worked to perfection. He is incredible off the ball, and that works for him a ton, especially when you talk about lobs and everything. It just works like a charm. And he's just always active off the ball. He does not give his defender a break. And Draymond Green even talked about it, how if you lay off him for 1 second, he will take advantage of you and he will make you look like a fool out there off the ball. One thing I will say, and Wembanyama is of course not a perfect player, I don't really think anybody is in the league. He is turnover prone for sure. He is very loose with his handle at times. Playmaking wise, I don't really think, I mean, he'll make bad decisions once in a while, but I don't really think that's where his turnovers come from the most. It's really just his loose ball handle, and at times, you know, he just loses the ball, it goes out of bounds, or it's a steal or something. And another large portion of his turnovers probably do come from double teams or sometimes even triple teams. Another thing that probably need to work on a little bit for Wemby is his shot selection, but that's kind of what I expected going into the season. This Spurs team had no aspirations to make the finals or even the playoffs, really. So Wembanyama had like the ultimate green light, which, I mean, Pop might be getting mad at times with his shot selection, but it's the first overall pick. Just let him experiment with what he's comfortable with and what he's not. So I kind of expected it. At times it leads to insanely bad lowlights where he's just barely grazing the rim or even airballing. But at times it also leads to like one-legged threes from almost the logo. So it's, you know, give or take with Wembanyama's shot selection, but it'll definitely get better and get cleaned up once this team wants to start competing. Another negative, I know it's 3 negatives in a row, but trust me, I want to touch on as many positives as possible, but I also don't want to be super biased here. I want to give an honest review of Victor's rookie season and how great it was, but also just some things he needs to work on. His mid-range game wasn't the greatest. I mean, I kind of wanted it to be a little bit better there. I knew his three-point shot wasn't great. It wasn't like Steph Curry coming into the league or anything. A lot of people were kind of hyping it up to be something crazy. I knew it wasn't going to be like that right away, but I was kind of hoping his mid-range game was a little bit better. It wasn't, but that'll get better, of course. These are things that you can easily work on. It's not like, you know, something crazy where I don't know if you'd be able to work on it. His mid-range game, you can work on that in the offseason and come back way better next year. Now, going back to the positives, his rebounding game is really, really good. Like, he has at times no way of getting an offensive rebound or even a defensive rebound. He just somehow uses his 8-foot wingspan to just stretch over people, multiple people even, and get rebounds. It's crazy. He averaged a double-double this rookie season. I expect that for probably the rest of his career to average a double-double. And yeah, his 7'5" frame with an 8-foot wingspan, you kind of expect a good rebounder out of that, and I mean, he showed it. So not a huge surprise here. You want him to rebound, and he did that. And multiple times him having 20 rebound games, which is crazy. Now moving into his defense ability, which might be, or I think it is, his best trait. Even though he's a crazy offensive player, his defensive ability is one like we've never seen by a rookie. He led the league in blocks, like I said, with a total of 254, and stocks, which is, of course, like I said earlier, steals and blocks. He led the league by a ton with 342, and all of this while being 86th in the league in total fouls. He is not fouling people when he's in the paint, blocking shots and getting steals and contesting shots. He is by far one of the best foul to block ratio guys ever already. At times though, Wemby can be a little block hungry. I mean, that kind of happens with most shot blockers coming into the league. They kind of fall for a lot of fakes, want to get a lot of blocks, and that leads to offensive rebounds because they're leaving their man. It happens, and blocks will probably go down at one point of his career. I know a lot of people expect him to average like 6-7 blocks or something towards his prime. Might not be that, but I don't think they'll ever be below 3, honestly. Post defense also can use a little bit of work in terms of strength and positioning. His ability to contest shots and block them once the shot goes up is phenomenal, maybe the best in the league at that. But it's everything else where it's getting back down, getting positioning and everything. That's the part that can probably use some more work, like players like Jokic and Embiid, which of course are the best of the best in the league. But I mean, sometimes when you got to go into the playoffs and everything and match up against these guys, you've got to play good defense. And Wemby does play good defense, but at times they can overpower them and everything. And that just comes with strength and experience that he'll get better at that. And honestly, for him being 7'5", around the same height as Boban, who when we look at Boban, super, non-mobile big. When you look at Wemby, he is, I think, an above average perimeter defender to average perimeter defender, and he can definitely hold his own out there. Now, of course, if you put Luka Doncic or something on him, it's probably not going to be the greatest result. But you put Wemby defending like an average wing or an average guard or something, he will surprisingly lock down that player. Like, it is not some Boban Marjanovic out there where you can easily blow past them. He is very good on his feet, and at times, yes, he can get block hungry and fall for fakes and everything. But man, once he gets that down and learns to stay on his feet more, he will be an above average, and I mean an above average perimeter defender if you want to play the switch game with him. Which, talking with the way that they do play Wemby on the defensive end, he is one of the best drop bigs in the league when you talk about in the pick and roll. Like, he is drop coverage all the time, but it is incredible because Wemby's able to take away basically every angle on the pick and roll with the pass to the big and also the shot with his length. Like, the primary ball handler will think twice about shooting it, even if Wemby's playing drop coverage, purely because of Wemby's wingspan, him and his ability to maybe even get to the shot to block it. By far one of the best big men to play in drop coverage. Him and Anthony Davis are one of the best. Another part of his defensive end that is very underrated, because you don't really look at this stat too much, is deflections. He is always going into the passing lanes and getting deflections and everything, and that probably does lead to most of his steals. And that goes back to me talking about his pick and roll game. He is incredible with using his arm length and wingspan, where he can just disrupt the pick and roll by himself by tipping the pass to the big man or getting a really good contest on the ball handler if they go for a floater or a jump shot mid-range. He is just the ultimate disruptor on the defensive end. And when you look at his on and off numbers on defense, it is insane. The Spurs are one of the worst defenses in the league with him off the floor. I don't have the exact stats right now, but if you look it up on Twitter or go on, whatever stat page you want to go on, StatMuse or Cleaning the Glass or whatever you want to go on, the Spurs are one of the worst defenses in the league without him, and when he's on the floor, they are one of the best defenses in the league, which is crazy when you look at the personnel on the Spurs. No one really screams great defender besides like Jeremy Sohan. And when you look at more miscellaneous stuff that he did this year, and not like offense, defense, and stuff like that, he was 10th in double-doubles this year at 43 double-doubles out of 71 games, and that's after starting the season at power forward. That was a little bit of a pop experiment when he played him and Zach Collins together. He started playing center, I believe, which was mid-December. So he's 10th in the league in double-doubles, and he had 2 triple-doubles, which tied him for 3rd amongst bigs. 1 triple-double being with assists, and another with blocks, which was crazy. He also had his 5x5 game, which was unbelievable. Like, he was just having one of the greatest and most unique stat lines ever by a rookie, to the point where he had Wembanyama on Twitter, which was when he put up a new stat no one's ever done before. He had, I believe, 8 on the season. And he almost had more 5x5s, but he was barely short. And he also had near quadruple doubles multiple times. Another underrated thing about him, and when you really do watch him play, you understand this, is when he doesn't have a good shooting night, he still is a net positive on the floor with his defense. And I'm not talking about statistically net positive, I don't know for sure, but he is impactful in many other ways out there, where he's either playmaking, using double teams to his advantage, or his pure defensive ability will just rise you above what you were going to be without him. Some other small things about him that, I don't know if you know this or not, is his leadership seems to be very good. Like, there's times where his point guard Trey Jones missed a game winner, I think it was against the Bucks actually, or a game tying shot or something like that. Wemby's the first guy over there to tell him, it's good, you're fine. That happens. You're going to miss those shots, but you're also going to make them. Like, Wemby looks like he is a very good leader at 20 years old. Also has a Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan level of competitiveness that you see out there. I remember when he had his 5 steals, 5 block games, 2 games in a row. I think it was only Michael Jordan that had ever done that. He was asked about it and he said, Michael Jordan probably did it in wins, which is just, he doesn't care about all this statistic stuff if it's not in wins, which is just otherworldly competitiveness. He is called the alien, but I didn't expect it to be like this. It's just, that's what legends are made of, and he is made out of the same cloth as legends like Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan, and all those guys. And the crazy part is he's doing this all at 19 and 20 years old. He has this incredible competitive passion. He's a leader. He's great on offense, great, incredible, legendary on defense. Playmaking's great. Just obviously some things he needs to work on, like every player in the league. But he has the tools for it. He has the drive for it. And it's going to be scary for the league. He started the year giving flashes of his greatness, but not the smoothest ride, to ending the year maybe the greatest rookie ever and a superstar. Now with Wembanyama, the only question is, what's next?